welcome to another edition of the House Whisperer Show on WWDB Talk 860 and WWDBAM.com. We have listeners all over the world on the internet and on your smartphones too. Stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your home, and we've got the guy that talks to the houses, and here's what they have to say back. Professional home inspector Jack Milne. I'm Barry Reisman, welcoming Jack back to WWDB. How you doing today, Jack?
I'm great, Barry. Can you believe it's March?
No, it's not. It can't be.
Yeah, I can't wait for this month to end because, the Ides of March, to me, is typically the end of winter. And I just am looking forward to spring after these last snow events that we have had. So, as everybody knows, our motto for this show is where every house has a story. And today's topic is going to be what buyers expect when purchasing a home. And I can tell you, folks, my phones have definitely started ringing here at Tri-County Inspection Company. So you can feel the pulse of the spring real estate market really starting to kick in now. So that's why I wanted to dedicate this show to both buyers and sellers, because if I know what buyers want and I can tell the sellers what they're looking for, well, then we're going to have this great marriage between buyers and sellers, and hopefully these real estate transactions will flow a lot smoother. So before we kick in, I do want to thank my sponsors because, again, without them, I wouldn't be able to share my voice with you. So we're going to today start with Pest Blaster. Again, March is typically the time when the seasons begin to warm up and the termites are starting to come out. So if you see any evidence of body parts, wings, carpenter bees, carpenter ants, you should reach out to Pest Blaster at 215-295-5555. But again, they also do radon testing, mold testing, and pest removal. Burrow exterminating, for those folks who are in the Delaware County area, wonderful people to work with. Again, they do termite and radon testing too. So if you're hearing my voice down and around that Westchester area or down there in Drexel Hill, reach out to Burrow Exterminating at 610-586-5640. Buxmont Inspections, on-site sewage evaluation and design. So if you live in a home that has an on-site sewage system, septic system, sand mount, cesspool, we use a bunch of different names. But please reach out to Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213, brainfleshgear.com. Again, I love these folks. Very down to earth, but very creative in their designs for you. If you need something specific, go to brainfleshgear.com, or you can email at contact@brainfleshgear.com. Of course, Tri-County Inspection Company. We do home inspections, commercial inspections, investment properties, light manufacturing, warehouses, schools. We did a firehouse a few weeks ago. So whatever needs to be inspected, we can help you with it. And we follow our inspections with a very detailed narrative report so that as buyers and or sellers, if you're interested in pre-listing your property, we can help you. And the report's designed to assist you with your real estate transfer. So you can reach out to us at 215-295-2030. Up in the Lehigh Valley, 610-346-7880. And believe us, folks, even in Delaware County, we have a phone number, 610-296-2004. And finally, in North or South Jersey, let's give you the North Jersey number, 609-882-5188. And again, please let my sponsors know that you heard the ad on the House Whisperer Show. That helps me help them. So I want to visit the email box real quick. Keith from Philadelphia had a comment on aging water heaters. So it goes something like this. Jack, I reached out to you last week regarding our water heater. And with you on the phone and me looking at the manufacturer's tag, you were able to tell me the tank was 8 years old. You took the time and had the patience to answer all my questions, and I just wanted to say thanks. Well, Keith, thanks for the nice letter. Please, folks, all my listeners, I'm here for you. If you have any questions or concerns, please email me at thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com or visit the website at thehousewhisperershow.com. And I am on top of my web guy, and I think we've got most of the shows, I think, into the middle of February. So if you want to revisit the show, go back to it. You can listen to it at your leisure. And then, of course, podcasts are available through the week at www.dbam.com. And from what I'm understanding, the show is going to be rebroadcast this month on WWDB on Saturdays at 1:30. So, again, thank you, Barry, and all at WWDB. I can't thank you enough. So today's topic, what buyers expect when purchasing a home. And again, this show pertains to all buyers, not just the nervous first-time buyer, but those who have been through the drill a few times before. And believe it or not, they all seek the same thing. With this being the start of the spring real estate season, please take note. First off, I think this is very important, choose a professional realtor. With the real estate downturn of 2007 through 2012, folks, 5 years, many part-time realtors left the profession. And in my opinion, real estate is a full-time career, and you can't represent a client between nail appointments, the gym, or any other lame excuses. Two, with today's buyers, they are really internet savvy and know an internet presence. And so they're familiar with Zillow or other websites that give real information about properties, school district, and taxes. You know, hopefully the political correctness of the late 1990s and early 2000s are over, because buyers want a straight answer and honestly no BS. And the reason I say that is that there was this period in time where realtors were not allowed to talk school districts, and they were getting sued by some other entity, maybe some aggressive attorney. And, you know, people need to know this. They couldn't use specific terms like room with a view, as it may affect the blind, or they couldn't use the term family room because they may not have a family. Walk-in closet, because folks may not be able to walk into that closet. And this political correctness had a serious effect as to how well a realtor could translate information to their buyers. I finally joked and said, you know, look, maybe the dead will sue you because you can't call it a living room. So I'm hoping we're past that. But again, today's generations are very internet savvy, and you can't pull the wool over their eyes. Also, buyers today are focused on particular areas where they want to buy. They also know their credit scores. They know the new rules with FHA or VA loans, and they know about what they owe with student loans, if any. So the rules for buying the homes have changed, and these buyers are typically up to date. But like everyone, they want a house in a good neighborhood. They want it priced straight and clean of clutter. And I think that's what we all want, but it takes a professional realtor to see through the current seller's dilemma, be that they are, in quote, underwater. Are they a hoarder? Is there a divorce involved? Are there 6 kids and no basement, which means that the toys are all over the place? And, you know, the realtor should have be able to show the potential of the house that's being offered without being overbearing or ostentatious. And that's important. A buyer should also be able to rely on the realtor for potential plans for a home in the future. So we might get this, and I get this a lot, where we were just married, but we want to have 2 or 3 children. Or our last child is now in college, and we have 2 years left on loans, and we plan to downsize. So these are people who rely on real information about themselves and their future. So to my realtors, I always ask them to listen intently and to guide them accordingly. So before we go to the next item on the list. Barry, should we take a commercial break?
It's perfect time to do it. Jack Milne, the House Whisperer, will be right back.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created t-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show.
As the weather gets cooler and the temperatures drop, the bugs might slow down, but the rodents don't stop. Mice and rats begin to invade homes during the fall and winter months, looking for food, warmth, and a comfortable place to nest. Don't wait for pesky rodents to invade your home. Fight back. Have your home baited and ready for their attack with Pest Blaster. Whether preventative or a full-blown infestation, give Pest Blaster a call at 215-295-5555 and they can discuss the solution to your problem. They also offer humane animal removal services for a wide variety of wild animals, damage repairs, and cleanups. Call them today at 215-295-5555 or check them out at pestblaster.com, servicing both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Pest Blaster, 215-295-5555 or pestblaster.com for all your pest control needs.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.
And we are back once again with Jack Milne, the House Whisperer, at WWDB Talk 860, WWDBAM.com, and on your smartphones. We are heard all over the world, and the podcast right here at WWDB AM 860. If you missed the show when it's on, you can listen to it when it's off, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And Jack is back. How you doing, Jack? We're glad to
Great,
have
Barry. Thank you. Today's episode is called What Buyers Expect When Purchasing a Home. And again, there has to be this dialogue between what buyers want versus what the realtor can do to satisfy those needs. So it's a combination of wants and needs. So getting back to what I've got is we have to find out if buyers are handy. As a home inspector, I ask that of my folks every day. And I don't care if it's a young couple, an old couple, if it's a young lady buying the house on her own. I want to know how to best serve that client. So, do these buyers want to remodel if they find a home that requires it? And most importantly, do they have the money to do so after possession? Or is it something that can wait literally a couple of years? If the house has, and I have to even throw this in, or a condo has only one bathroom, and a typical bathroom takes 4 to 6 weeks to do over, I mean, where are they going to go? And I say that both literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because you can only knock on your neighbor's door or run to your parents' house so many days in a row before it gets old, folks. So, today's buyers watch HGTV, House Virgins, and so they're starting to make things now at the Home Depot, which cracks me up. On a Saturday morning, they got all these tables lined up, and they're learning how to install tile and grout it, for example. And you can tell that these buyers are excited. And you can tell that, and I see it on a daily basis when I meet clients for the first time as I, walk up and I shake my hand and introduce myself as Jack Milne from Tri-County Inspection Company. And they want to take notes and they want to take pictures and they've got their tapes in hand to take measurements of the refrigerator. And it doesn't matter, folks, if it's a first-time buyer or a third or a fourth-time buyer. They're all excited. They're all young all over again. So what I try to do is calm them down a little bit, tell them that we're going to share a lot of information together. They don't have to remember anything because the report will be in their hands tomorrow, and to sit back and learn. And at some point, I will tell them to go ahead and take your measurements, take your pictures, but hang with me until we get through the critical parts. So when I find buyers who aren't handy, who are buying that handyman special, then we have to talk about future expectations. I don't ask their budget because usually you try to buy as much home as you can, but there's always going to be things that need to be done after possession's taken. So we try to gauge the expectations so that they can budget accordingly in order to help lower their operating costs. And to me, that's one of the most important things to do with any home buyer, but to put them into an appropriate sequence so it makes sense for them down the road. So when, with buyers, they want to try to buy quick. Sellers want to try to get as much as they can, so sometimes they I don't want to use the term exaggerate, that's a little bit too harsh, but they try to say, well, Madam Realtor, Mr. Realtor, I know you're telling me that my CMA is worth $260, but can we try $280? And sometimes when you go a little bit higher than what the market allows, your house is going to languish. And then all of a sudden your expectations start to drop down a little bit. So I'm going to ask my sellers to really listen to the real estate professional. If need be, get an appraisal so you can understand exactly what your house is worth in today's market, as we had Jim McKissick on a show a month or so ago talking about expectations of buyers and sellers and the appraiser. So with today's buyers, there's no contingencies. In other words, buyers today have their houses sold. And I wouldn't want to be a seller of a home depending on my buyer selling his house before he can buy my house. So there's not going to be any contingencies like that. There's no more no-doc loans. There's no more subprime loans. So the prudent buyer knows that if his house is under agreement, he's not wanting to do a bridge loan, and which becomes much more involved with a transaction, And it not only affects his transaction, but it can affect the sellers too. So as sellers, you want to make sure that the buyer offers you a clean agreement of sale. There will be contingencies for radon testing, termite testing, home inspection, on-site sewage evaluation, maybe mold, maybe lead testing. But these are standard contingencies. You just don't want to deal with buyers who have not even put their house up on the market yet. That I would not wait for that buyer. Let that buyer sell his home and then come and talk to me, or at least be under agreement. The other thing today, folks, is more women are buying homes, either independently or as the named buyer for the mortgage. And again, I'm seeing this too. And I don't know if it's equal rights, brighter employment opportunities, better and affordable schooling, but men are now taking the back seat when it comes to buying real estate. So please, realtors, be ready for this. Sellers, be ready for this. It may be changing times, but now I see it a lot while I'm conducting home inspections. And honestly, folks, and you probably have seen these numbers, now more than 60% of college graduates are women. And most graduate students are women. So men, I find, move along. Women choose the home. And as I said years and years ago on the radio, if without the benefit of women, men would still live in caves. So, yeah. So women pick out the home, the men move along. But this new generation of buyers, and especially men, may not have a choice anymore. And unfortunately, I find that sad. And a marriage is, two people with equal parts coming together and acting as one. But I'm seeing a true dynamic out there where the women are becoming the breadwinners, and the men are serving a more subservient role. And I'm not sure how that's going to happen in the childbearing years, but it does have me just concerned as an individual. Suburbs versus city. The city of Philadelphia has expanded their youthful markets beyond Roxborough and Manayunk to include South Philadelphia, Fishtown, Northern Liberties, Queen Villages, where renovations to older properties and new constructions are appealing. And there is a distinct difference to these types of buyers, but young singles or recently marrieds are at the other end of the spectrum. The empty nesters want the city too, but the younger folks usually stay in the city until their children are going to school. And we all know about the dynamics of the Philadelphia public schools, so most of the younger families are putting their children into private schools in the city, so realtors be aware of what schools they are. I find that most of the young folks are in the 5 to 7 year plans because at some point they want to hit the burbs. As a realtor, you want to talk about these plans versus realities, because both parties, buyers and realtors, need to know what their futures will demand. On the other end, the suburbanites who raised their families want to move back to the city. So you can see that the condo demand in Center Philadelphia is huge. And we're starting to see good numbers, realistic numbers on our condos because they are in demand. So, of course, price and demand, if we don't have very many condos, the prices are going to go up, right? But at the same time, right now, there's a nice supply of condos that should fit most needs. But as the suburbanite moving in, you have to be clear to your realtors to what you're looking for. Do you want to keep a car? I remember years ago I did an inspection on Pine Street, and the buyer was ecstatic that he spent an extra $100,000 to get a garage. So, wow. As buyers, you have to let your realtor know where you want to be placed. If you're counting on public transportation, if you're planning to walk to work, if you want to be by your kids and you want to take a taxi, one of the things I find about Philadelphia is there's not many taxis. Look at New York, it's all taxis. So the prices of parking is going up. Sometimes with our condos that we buy, there's a separate condo fee for your car. So we have to understand, what our expectations are versus what we need. So I ask all my buyers to listen to their realtor professional, but at the same time, I'm asking the realtor to listen to the needs and wants of their buyers. So bottom line, the buyers today are in charge. 2014 promises to be a great year in real estate. Mortgage rates are holding at a steady 4% up, but less than 5%. And to me, that's still cheap money. And the Fed wants to stabilize the bond market. So we're getting away from spending $80 billion. What a number. I want to know how many zeros that is, down to $65 billion a month. But they don't want to slow the market down. So they're going to keep the interest rates down intentionally to keep the market purring along. So I think it's going to be a good market regardless if you're a buyer or a seller. But I'm going to ask that everybody be ready, be fully prepared for an active market. As it is the weekend, I ask that you please spend time with friends and family. Again, reach out to www.dbam.com, pick up some previous shows. I look forward to seeing you next week on the House Whisperer.
Absolutely, and tune in again next week for another edition of the House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. And you can listen to previous programs, or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.